Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Friday, March 11th edition of StudentLoanJustice.org. I hope everybody is doing well out there in the world. It's a cold and blustery day here in northern Wisconsin. So I'm just going to get right into it. So some pretty good news this week, folks. May not sound like a big deal, but it's a far bigger deal than you think. So a couple days ago, the Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, he reaffirmed the Department of Education's commitment to, quote unquote, not perfect quote, make it easier for student loan borrowers to discharge their loans in bankruptcy. And he even went further and said that they have told the Justice Department to put currently pending bankruptcy cases on hold upon request of the borrower. So that's kind of a big deal, folks. It may not sound like much, but here's the most important policy point I'm going to make tonight, and probably the most important point I'll be making for some time and have been making for quite some time. Bankruptcy is key to solving the student loan problem. It is. We are not going to see meaningful student loan cancellation from President Biden unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us. We have seen the people in Washington, D.C. foist fake loan cancellation gimmick upon fake loan cancellation gimmick upon us many times over the past nearly 20 years that we've been doing this, 17 years. This is the game. This is the game that's being played on us, folks. You know, Biden could tomorrow stand up and say, okay, everybody, I've had a change of heart, and I am now going to cancel up to $50,000 for all student loan borrowers. And that will be nonsense. That's nonsense. Up to $50,000 is purposely inserted weasel wording. Like, we've seen many loan cancellation gimmicks come and go since the 90s. Like, millions of people have tried for them. And of those literally millions of people, far less than 1% have actually gotten the loan forgiveness or cancellation promised. I call it cancellation. I don't like calling it forgiveness. I hope you agree. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, throw them up. And if you're watching on Twitter or on Facebook, I will gladly respond to them if I can see them. I forgot to mention that earlier. Yeah, folks, our opposition, the lending goons, the dark people, the predators in Washington, D.C., bankruptcy, whether you like bankruptcy or not, doesn't matter. Bankruptcy is their kryptonite. You know, the founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws in the Constitution, ahead of the power to declare war, ahead of the power to raise an army in the Constitution. They were onto something. And our opposition, they would love to continue to foist these fake loan cancellation gimmicks upon us as long as bankruptcy remains gone from the loans. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It's a terrible thing to have to do. And quite frankly, few people should even have to file when we get the right return. But we have got to have the threat of bankruptcy back on our side if we're going to see any sort of meaningful, like actual loan cancellation from President Biden. And believe me, when bankruptcy protections are returned to us as they exist for all other loans, the game is over. I mean, Biden is going to have to cancel loans very meaningfully, very broadly, very deeply, maybe even totally. I mean, they may take a look and realize that they're looking at potentially a wave of bankruptcy filings larger than anything we've ever seen in this nation's history. And that is true. You know, before the pandemic, there were probably 38 million distressed student loan borrowers in the country. So 38 million people either weren't paying, and that's more than half, or they were paying and their loan balances were going up. So that's a lot of people. And today it's even more than that. Today it's probably over 40 million people, probably 41 or 2 million people who were and are losing sleep over their student loans. Now, in an average year, fewer than 1 million people file for bankruptcy for any reason. So if all they were to do is return bankruptcy protections and nothing else, we would see a wave of filings. How many? I don't know. Probably 10, 15 million, maybe 20 million, maybe more million people. Now, in a typical year, fewer than 1 million people file for bankruptcy for any reason. So those are the sorts of cartoonish numbers that we're looking at. When we get the threat of bankruptcy returned, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden is going to have to cancel loans broadly and meaningfully. And oh, by the way, the Department of Education is going to have to start administering their stupid loan cancellation programs fairly so that hopefully 90% of the people make it through rather than 99% of the people being disqualified for stupid reasons. So whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy, that's not important. What matters is that we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. I don't know why many, in fact, most of the other student loan activists I've seen out there in the world don't understand this point, and shame on them for not. You know, if you're going to call yourself a student loan activist, you better know at least that much. But it's true, and shame on them for not thinking this through. I would urge them to think this through. We've tried the loan cancellation thing many times without, in the continued absence of bankruptcy protections, many times in the past. The Department of Education loves to not cancel loans. They have no desire, no intention of actually canceling any loans. As long as bankruptcy remains gone, they're going to continue to play these games. And so hopefully at least a few of the other student loan activists out there will come around. But that's kind of shameful, quite frankly, that they haven't thought this through to the granular level that we have over many years and decades. And think about it, the way things are today, in what universe do you see Joe Biden waking up and saying, okay, I'm going to cancel loans? No, it's not going to happen. You know, maybe if Bernie Sanders were president, maybe I would agree that might be something that could happen. But we're not talking about Bernie Sanders here, guys. We're talking about Joe Biden, Joe effing Biden, who himself was a key player in taking bankruptcy protections away from student loans going back to 1976 during his days as a junior senator. So that's the reality, guys. Joe Biden's not a good guy. He's got to be pushed. The good news is he is a politician. And only when we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side are we going to see meaningful, widespread, maybe even total loan cancellation. So I will look for your comments here, guys. I hope I can find them. Not always a sure thing that I will. Our bandwidth is a little freaky today. We're having a cold windstorm here in Wisconsin right now, by the way. It's going to get down into the very minus degrees, sub-zero temperatures here tonight. I see we have a couple comments from Doug Grostefan. How's it going, Doug? So Doug says, let's see if I can read them in order. If we get the threat back, I've had many who have asked about the possibility of resubmission of a previously processed case. Thoughts? Great question, Doug. Well, first of all, there's two things we're fighting for on bankruptcy. Number one is our bill, S-2598. This bill, very important bill, S-2598. It will return bankruptcy to federal student loans with a 10-year waiting period. The other thing we're fighting for, and this is what I have this is what that news was about that I just mentioned at the top, is for the Biden administration to stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. Now, on the first thing, yes, as the bill is written right now, if you have a recent bankruptcy case, you should be able to amend your filing and include your student loans in that filing. Now, of course, it kind of depends on when your previous bankruptcy was and that's a little out of my jurisdiction there. You'd want to check with your bankruptcy attorney. I know the laws or the way bankruptcy is handled differs from state to state, so you want to. But as far as I can tell, there's no reason why you cannot amend. Just like you can amend any other bankruptcy filing, you should be able to amend your bankruptcy filing for student loans when our bill S2598 is passed. Knock on wood. Similarly, and again, I don't have a crystal ball. The Biden administration has not yet come out with how they are going to handle student loans and bankruptcy. It looks like it's imminent, guys. I mean, that news that I just said about Cardona and Twitter, the thing that he tweeted about, makes it look very much like we are going to see the Biden administration opposing federal student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. But we don't know the details. So we don't know, they would have to go out of their way, I think, to preclude people who recently filed cases, to preclude them from amending their filings. So I would guess that they would not do that, and that you could amend your bankruptcy filing, but I cannot say that for sure. In fact, I cannot even say for sure that they're going to do it, because who knows. But based on everything that I'm seeing, I mean, Cardona wouldn't have tweeted that the other day if they weren't very seriously getting ready to roll something out. And similarly, I shouldn't say, but I will say, I've known James Kowal, the Undersecretary of Education, for many years. And before he came into office, he assured me that he was going to look very seriously at opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. So by all appearances, we are going to be seeing that happen maybe in the next week or 2 weeks. If I had to guess, I'd say we'd probably see it before April 1st or so. I would say we definitely should see it before May 1st. So time will tell, hopefully, and probably not too much time. So we'll see. Hey, Doug also says, thoughts on PSLF? Many people think it may happen for them now. Doug, PSLF has always been an anchor disguised as a life vest. It was very heartening to see them overhaul the public service loan forgiveness program recently. But here's the thing about public service that people don't realize. It is completely subject to the whims of Congress. And who knows what this November election is going to do. I think it may be bad for the Democrats. If the Democrats don't do something very big on the student loan issue, I pretty much guarantee you that this next election, they will not hold the House or the Senate. We're the largest political voting bloc, the largest untethered political voting bloc by and large in U.S. history. Like, certainly my lifetime. Okay, let's just say that. In my lifetime, there has never been a larger group of people bound together by one issue who were not beholden one way or the other to one political party or the other. You look at every other issue out there: gun control, abortion, immigration, you name it, and I will show you an issue around which the battle lines are very clearly drawn. Student loans is the wild freaking West, and we have 60 million people, that's borrowers and cosigners combined, in the country, and most of them, 80%, were underwater on their student loan debt before the pandemic. So that's only increased. It's probably 85 or maybe even 90% now. My only point in saying all of this is that Congress tomorrow could decide to kill the public service loan forgiveness program. I don't think they will tomorrow, but should the Republicans retake Congress, which, again, I don't have a crystal ball, but it could very well happen, all bets are off. All bets are off. So, and guys, this has been true. This is also true for IBR. None of these loan cancellation programs, whether it's public service, whether it's income-based repayment, whether it's pay as you earn, whether it's revised pay as you earn, none of them are trustworthy. decades have shown that the Department of Education is doing everything it can to disqualify the overwhelming majority of people out of these programs. And even like 6 years ago, in fact, more than that, like 7 years ago, 57% of the people in income-based repayment were kicked out in 1 year alone for failing to adequately verify their income. It's just one of the many bureaucratic hurdles that borrowers have to jump through that give the Department of Education all kinds of reasons to disqualify people out of those programs. So all of these loan cancellation programs are essentially fake. They are cruel jokes, and you are the punchline. We saw a little glimmer of hope with this public service modification, and lo and behold, we're actually starting to see a few people get their loans canceled. But guys, they're not to be trusted. What is to be trusted is when we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. That gives us the leverage that every other borrower has for every other type of loan. That's what we need. That is the fundamental injustice with this entire lending system. So yeah, I hope I answered all of your questions. Some of the comments just disappeared. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. I know I saw some other comments out there. I will also now look for comments on Twitter and see what I can find. But yeah, guys, whether you want loan cancel, we are fighting for loan cancellation also. Make no mistake. This group started the petition before anybody almost was talking about student loan cancellation by executive order, which is a very key distinction. The president can cancel loans by executive order, not through Congress, by executive order without needing one dime from the Treasury, without needing congressional approval, without adding one penny to the national debt. It's a very sexy, elegant solution. And we started that thing in March 2020. It wasn't until like September of 2020 that Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer embraced that concept. And today, it's pretty much the top of the news almost all the time on student loans. So we are for student loan cancellation. Now, whether you are for full-on cancellation, whether maybe you just want to break on your interest or some other negotiated workout, or whether you've had enough and you're just completely insolvent and you actually have to file for bankruptcy. Whatever your situation may be, you need to be helping us fight for bankruptcy. It is the most important. I'll say it one more time, most important thing. We are not going to see meaningful student loan cancellation from President Biden unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. Few people should even have to file. Maybe no one will have to file. But the day that they return bankruptcy protections to federal student loans, that's the day that the jig is up for all the rats, all the swamp creatures in Washington, D.C. So please remember that, guys. The most important action item I have for you, very simple. We've got over 1 million people on our group, a couple 100,000 additional people across our other platforms, 1 million people on our petition, I should say. We've got a huge muscle to flex, and that will only happen when everybody out there goes to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and does our daily actions on a daily basis. They're easy. They take sometimes even seconds to do. Most of it is Twitter stuff. Today, for example, however, we're doing something a little different. Today, we're having a Senate call party. It's a party, not really a party, but we're just trying to get people excited and enthused to participate. But yeah, guys, we're doing these daily actions, and they are uniquely tailored for the current political environment. We go after certain people at certain times. We know what we're doing. Like, I live and breathe this stuff. It's all that I think about. These daily actions are extremely important. And when even half of our 1.2 plus million members do these daily actions, I guarantee you this problem is going away. Because right now, the number of people who do these things on a daily basis are like in the maybe hundreds or low thousands. And that's not enough. We need probably 10 times more people doing these daily actions. Remember, guys, these are your loans. This is your livelihood at stake. This is your problem. And if you can't at least dedicate a couple minutes a day towards this fight, do you really deserve to have your loans canceled? No, that's a question for you. But come on, it's the least that you can do. I would beg you if I thought it would make a difference. But that's how important this is, guys. We want these loans gone. We want them gone. And that's only going to happen when you step up and help us fight. Now, to all the people out there like Doug, I happen to know, and many others who I have seen who are doing the daily grind, this daily work that we need people to do, I salute you. I mean, we're the real deal, and we're the pioneers, and we know that. And we probably don't even need a pat on the back, but I salute you. To everybody else, you better turn over a new leaf, because again, these are your loans. Your livelihood is at stake here. You're not better than us. Make no mistake, you are not. We need your help, and you need everyone to help us. And the third part of that, the most important part, is you being the change you want to see by helping us. So it may not be glamorous. It may not be sexy. It may not win you any prizes or whatever, but it needs to be done. It has to be done. As the Amish say, many hands make heavy work light. And that's what's going on here, guys. That's the deal. So all I can say is, if you care, whether you want loan cancellation, whether you want some kind of a middling negotiated settlement, we want the entire federal lending system canceled, by the way. It's got to happen. The lending system has just failed catastrophically. But whatever your goals may be, none of that's going to happen, or maybe I should say all of that can and will happen when we get the threat of bankruptcy back. And so when you help us with these daily actions, just look right there and you can see them, daily actions. And if you haven't never done a daily action, do like a month or two worth of our daily actions. Literally, all you need is a Twitter account and like an email address and a phone. And you can probably knock out a month worth of our daily actions in like about 6 minutes. It's like that quick. We try and make it very easy for you, and hopefully fun. Like today, it's a party. Hey, but come on, guys, help out. You have no idea how important you are, and a lot is riding on this. I want these loans gone. I hope you agree. So with that, I'm going to call this one a little early tonight. No. Actually, we're right on time. But have a good weekend. Don't let this drop. Do your daily actions right now. Like I said, it's mostly Twitter stuff. You can do them right now. You can call your Senate offices right now, even though they are closed. You can still leave a message, and you can do that. So do that. Maybe the last thing I'll say is, if you want to be a very well-trained, if you want to be a very fit student loan justice warrior, as they say, and we need you to be, probably the best thing that you can do is take a little bit of time, go to our Medium channel. So it's studentloanjustice.medium.com. All one word, studentloanjustice.medium.com. Read our most recent 5, 6, or 7 articles. There is some very important, mostly unreported stuff in there that you need to know about. If you read those previous 5 or 6 articles, you will know more than half, pretty much what I know, the important things anyhow, and you will be able to fight this battle on your own. Answer all the tough questions, answer all the critics and the haters. It's very easily done. But it starts with you. So with that, I think I'm just going to wish you all a good night. I hope you all are pleased. I've never been more optimistic than I am right now. This thing that came out from Cardona bodes just extremely well. I got 2 pieces of really good news about our bill this week also. I cannot share it yet, but I hope to be able to share it very soon. So yeah, guys, we're right there. I think this is going to be the last year of fighting this battle for me and for this group. I really think so. I hope so. And when you help, that pretty much becomes a guarantee. So, When are you going to turn over a new leaf and start helping people like me and Doug and the hundreds, probably thousands of other people who are getting our knuckles dirty every day? When are you going to help? We will never get anywhere unless and until you do. So think about that. Have a great weekend. I'll be back on Sunday. Things are going well, folks. Things are going very well. I am very guardedly and cautiously optimistic. So, all right, guys, have a great weekend. Hope you stay warm. We'll see you soon. Good luck. Godspeed. And God bless everybody.